Well, I spent a year in Korea up and along the demilitarized zone, and I left there. Well, before I got to Korea, I had to go to training, so I went to Fort Dix, and then I went to Fort Gordon in Georgia for further training, and left from Fort Gordon for overseas. To call home in those days was such a almost impossibility that I don't think anybody ever bothered.
Yeah.
So it was all by letters, which took almost a month because it was going by boat. Well, I had to drive somebody down to see the Red Cross person. His father died. And on the base, there was a Red Cross office. They weren't big bases, or they were compounds, really.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a Red Cross office, and then what happens then, they send them home. I decided that sitting around wasn't going to be for me. And then I was thinking what I could do, and then Katrina hit. So I figured, let me try the Red Cross. And then I got into that, and quickly found out. When they said, would you do local stuff? I said, sure. I didn't know the Red Cross went to fires. And I learned quick enough they did. It depends. I mean, they're so varied that you couldn't say, you can go to a fire with one or two people. It's not that bad. You can go to a fire and find 4 or 5 people were killed. You can go walk there and find out you got 80 or 100 people, like we had not that many months ago over in Dover. I think the shelter at its peak was, and then it's chaos. Any fire with numerous people is a certain amount of chaos, but when you get those big ones, it's chaos. So the secret is embrace chaos. Don't, it's still one person at a time. You've got to sit back and take a breath before you dive into it. It's one at a time, and we'll get through. Normally I put myself on schedule 2 shifts a week. So I've had weeks, I average 5 fires a month over the 14 years. I've heard that 1,000 times.
Yeah.
I never thought this would happen to me. Well, neither did I when my house caught fire, now that I think about it. Heavy, because nobody's home, except the pets. It started in a light switch, and then the neighbor across the street saw it when the front window blew out. So the fire was damage inside was major.
Yeah.
It wasn't destroyed, but it was major, so we were out for 4 months. One fire, we had a really bad fire in Newark. I think it was 2 winters ago. And we were down there already at another fire of 3 houses, and we got called by the fire department and said, don't leave, get over here. And 9 houses were on fire. And it was a winter fire. The fire had actually jumped the street, so the fire was on both sides of the street. Cars were on fire. And it was winter day, and winter. It was 0 with 30 miles an hour winds, that's why the fire was so bad. So we couldn't even hardly find people because they were all running they couldn't stand out there. So I did find this one family with a bulldog, and the guy comes up to me, can you help us? And the dog is freezing. I said, come on, everybody pile in the truck. So the big bulldog comes jumping in the truck, and he was so happy, he wouldn't stop kissing me.
It's not boring.
It's not boring. No, it's never been boring. It's been interesting sometimes. You meet a lot of people. And you find, another thing you do find when you go into areas that people are, say, nervous about going into, people are people. And they're no different. They live sometimes in harder circumstance. But generally speaking, people are people.